Well, it's my pleasure to be here. I love being at the radio station. It's a different environment, a different world.
Definitely, as opposed to, speaker in the bedroom while you're putting your tie on and getting ready for work and everything. Right?
Usually it's in the car,
Okay.
Could be in the car, could be just coming back from the gym,
There are a lot worse places it could be from. And I've had people on the air from those places.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. And it's this concerns probably one of the saddest moments in somebody's life, but one that we all go through and one that is very important to know what to do. And that is mom and dad are gone and you have all this stuff in the house. And, okay, now what happens? What do you do?
People ask me all the time, what do I do with my parents' stuff? And the big thing here is that you need to really, really separate it out. You need to look at it. And some people can't even deal with it. So you got to wait a little time, unless you're under a time constraint where they rented, you got to be out by the end of the month.
Right.
Too much. So you got to decide on what your priorities are. The first thing to really do is go and look for small, portable valuables if there's nobody living in the residence anymore. By portable valuables, I mean cash, diamonds, jewelry, watches, certificates, any kind of certificate. You need their will. You need their power of attorney if you have one. Hopefully you do, because it makes life easier. But it's really, really important that you get down to business. And one thing I always advise is don't throw anything out without really finding out if it has value.
Right.
Because the issue here is, and I'll tell you, this is direct. I have a number of people who come to me, a lot, 5, 6, 10 times a year, and they bring me things that they buy from estate sales.
Right.
Run by the owners.
Okay.
I spend thousands and thousands of dollars on gold jewelry and platinum jewelry and diamond jewelry and good watches that people not knowingly say, well, I got $1,000 for my jewelry. Or I got $500. Did I do well? I said, I can't tell you if you did well. I didn't see it. So, but the people that come to me harp on the fact that you don't know, and they will come to your estate sale that you're running yourself and say, I'm going to offer you $100 for all your custom jewelry, knowing that there's something good in it. And you can't, it's about business. It's about making money, and that's what they do.
Right. And, you mean including that, the $100, including this little $10,000 item that's sitting, that kind of thing can happen. And I like this. It's always, they say, look everywhere.
Look everywhere. Look where you think it's safe, under the underwear.
Right.
I'm serious. People think that the burglars don't go under the underwear. That's the first place they go.
Of course.
Don't throw out food in the freezer. Some people hide things in the freezer.
Yep.
Shoe boxes are very common. I assure you, as I've said before, there is no safe place to hide anything in your home.
We just went out to lunch after a funeral with an aunt of my wife, or an uncle rather, had passed away, and she said, order what you want. He used to play poker once a week, and he never showed me his winnings. I found them, and there was like hundreds of dollars in cash sitting there in a hidden place. So it's what Barry says. It's very, very true.
When a friend of mine moved his father from his own apartment to another place,
right,
they found $10,000 in cash in a coffee can in the oven.
In the oven?
In the oven.
Wow. Or another one, when my parents they were moving, and my two aunts had left all the kids. They never married, so they left savings bonds. And I went and literally I opened up a drawer, a metal cabinet, one of the drawers, and in between the back of the cabinet and a place, it just slipped through. It's not supposed to be there. What are these papers? Oh, it was $1,000 bond for my son. Right. I'm like, I have good news. I called him. So yeah, you never know.
So the thing is that when when this estate happens, now it could have been that they moved into an independent care facility or they passed on, but you need to know that you have the authority to do these things. Closing credit cards, closing bank accounts, and the banks won't talk to you if you don't have a will and a power of attorney. So these are really, really important things. But then you go to separating everything, and that's the same thing as organizing. What are you going to keep? What are you going to trash? What are you going to sell? What are you going to donate? And sometimes you need an appraiser. I do advise getting an appraiser or somebody good, and there are a number of good appraisers out there. We do this. We'll do it for service, and we'll try to separate some things out for you. We're not home organizers,
Right.
okay? But if you need a dumpster, we can help you with that too. We can help organize the process.
And the key is not to put in the dumpster something that could have paid your kids' education, which does happen.
You know,
I'm sure.
when I was a kid, my parents were in the antique business, and I still remember a house where my parents were garbage pickers. Not really, but you see something on the street, you pick it up.
Yeah.
I took out from this one garbage pail. I kept going there. I kept a lot of gold as a kid. I took out these Chinese mudmen, ceramic figures about 8-10 inches tall. We sold them for broken. We sold them for 20, 30, 40 dollars a piece. It was very exciting. I mean, you never know what you're going to find.
That's pretty wild. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, what happens, what do you keep, what don't you keep? And this is very, very vital stuff, and I know we like to think, that day will never come. Yeah, it does, and this is stuff you need to know. And it's 7:49, sitting in for my good friend Boyd. I am Alan David Stein, back with Barry Blank in studio from National Estate Jewelry Buyers. And Jamie is here, videoing this whole thing.
Jamie Blank, actually.
Really?
No relation, but
Really?
Jamie
Not
Blank.
mishpacha?
Not
No.
mishpacha. Actually, we had the same father. Not really. Father's name was Bruce Blank.
Ah.
And her father's name was Bruce Blank.
Okay.
He still is.
Yes. And
Mine was.
a famous singer's real last name was Blank. I told you about that off the air, but I don't want to out her on the air. But anyway, where were we? We're talking about checking everything and talking about, estates. Mom and dad are gone. You have to move them. You're going through everything. And, what are the kind of things you should sort through? Because there's so much stuff there.
Right. Well, the things you sort through, as we sort of discussed before, are the portable valuables. That's the first thing, which are diamonds, jewelry, watches, coins.
Right. We got it.
Okay, but you also have to look for stock certificates. You have to look for anything of value. Were they antique collectors? How long did they live in the house? Did they do a lot of collecting? Were they like I know a lot of people? Or were they clean freaks where everything's in order?
Right.
And that's a good thing, because one thing I always said is I had a friend who used to run an ad that said, "Do your family a favor, sell your things to us now."
I love it.
So it was really great, but it's very important to keep organized so your estate is in order.
Huh. Interesting. And you mentioned also checks that maybe haven't been deposited or cashed or just sitting there. And
I can't bring up a name, but I helped clean out an estate in Brooklyn.
Okay.
$50,000 to $60,000 in uncleared, undeposited checks, because the woman was a recluse and never left the house. So
don't they expire after a certain?
Well, they become what we call stale in
Right.
6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But the maker of the check should still make good on it. I don't know what happened, because they had somebody in the business who was in a legal profession who worked with that.
Right.
But,
Now, of course, especially when you lose a parent, there's going to be things that maybe on the open market it's not going to be valuable, but it's probably the most important things to somebody who's this was mom's.
right.
Sentimental value.
Sentimental value. The Saturday Night Live did a great skit called The Sentimental Pawn Shop.
Okay.
One of the original Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I don't
Somebody
remember
comes
it.
in with a 10-carat diamond, but I hated this person. Oh, I'll give you $1 for it.
Right.
Somebody else comes in with a piece of gold-filled costume jewel, and she was the most special. They gave her $1 million for it.
I love it.
So we can't pay for sentiment.
Right.
But sentiment, fills your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Sentiment says, oh, my grandfather held this. It was his bar mitzvah. It was his their confirmation, whatever it was. So sentiment is important only to you and your family.
Right. And another thing is people may want to donate either to, a charity and organization or to the kids, to family.
What I recommend, well, you're not donating to family, you're gifting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But when you're donating, unless it's of extremely high value, I recommend cash to charities, not objects, because when you donate objects above a certain amount, you have to provide very specific, detailed appraisals
Mm-hmm.
and fair market value, and that can get very complicated. So the onus of what the value is for donation is up to you, and you have to prove it with an appraiser. So cash, there's no question. You donate it $50,000, $20,000, $5,000, whatever.
Right.
But with objects, it's much more difficult.
Right. Interesting. A very interesting thing also, I had heard this, that believe it or not, there are, talking about picking in garbage, that there are people who something that you may not think is worth something, you get rid of it, throw it away in the garbage, and you may get little visitors, and we're not talking about raccoons now. So it's a good idea to shred it, I would think.
Oh yeah, shredding papers. What you're talking about, don't throw out any personal document with your name on it. That can be, as we call phished, PHISHED, phishing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Be really, really careful. If you have a lot to shred, make sure you go. When my parents passed, I was going through shredding things, and all of a sudden, for some reason, I stopped. It was an envelope full of $2 bills.
Wow.
And it had like 100 of them in there. And I just stopped for some reason, so be careful.
That's good. Can you imagine putting that through the shredder and you see the shredded little spaghettis of what are obviously money? But
the green money.
No.
But that's real. It really did happen. I felt like it was a gift from heaven.
Especially considering who you are and what you do. That would be one of those, I'll never tell anybody this happened. But you caught it on time, so you're fine. Well, now, the important thing is, okay, you have what you want to sell. The thing is, who do you sell to?
Well, these are things that I'll always recommend. Talk to friends, talk to your family, talk to anybody who's had an estate to sell, anybody who's sold anything. Get a recommendation. By all means, go online and check reviews. Check the Better Business Bureau. And the thing I'll always say is, if you're going to sell something and they say to you, how much do you want? You pick it up and you walk out.
Right.
Because they're trying to trap you into saying less than it's worth. Oh, you want 1,000? No problem. Would you take 900? I'm not going to tell you it's worth 2,500.
Right.
But
or more, yeah.
Right, but I'll offer you.
So that's not just, you always, we've heard you say this many times about diamonds and everything, and but this is with anything.
With anything. Even a car. You're selling a car to somebody. You're selling a Louis Vuitton bag.
Right.
You need an offer if you're selling to an expert.
Huh. Interesting. And we don't have a lot of time, so one thing I definitely want to talk about is people don't realize that, Santa Claus is real. There's unclaimed property. You see the ads in the paper and everything, pages of it. And, I'm not going to look through that, but you never know. Well, talk about that a little bit.
Well, one thing you could do is, and I did this for myself and all my family and friends, I've done it. It's because Where's My Money? New Jersey, NJ.com.
Oh.
Now, every state has a clearinghouse like this.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are multi-state. And what comes up is anywhere that there's a money put into the state's hands in your behalf. Now, I found like $127 once that was a Blue Cross Blue Shield check that was sent over. For my younger brother, he had been in a business that was transferred. It was $8,000 or $10,000 sitting somewhere.
Santa. Yeah.
Santa does happen. Santa Schwartz in some cases.
Exactly.
But you gotta have fun with it. At any rate, I hope people aren't mad with that.
No. We used to call him Hanukkah Claus, but
Hanukkah Claus.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, this is a site that you'll be very, very surprised with.
Wow.
And make sure you don't click on the one that says ad on it, because you want to go directly to the government. Otherwise, the people with the ads are getting piece of the action.
Gotcha. That's great. It is great advice. And now there's a lot of organizations, because we got to wrap up, but then businesses that can come to do the entire job for a flat fee or percentage of the estate's proceeds. And maybe you can talk about that a little bit, because I know you guys do that.
Well, we do that. We don't run estate sales, but we can help set them up.
Mm-hmm.
We can get them running. But we can do the appraisal. We can do the estate appraisal, the individual appraisal. But getting a reputable person in to do your estate sale is probably the most important thing you can do. And they either charge a flat fee or a percentage of the gross sales. And I recommend it, especially for people like me who have really busy lives. You can't sit there and spend 2 weeks clearing out a house.
Right.
But check the pockets, check the drawers, check anything of value. Look around for papers before you let anybody in.
Well, and now to contact you, of course.
You can contact us at our store. It's 732-257-GOLD, which is 732-257-4653.
This is for National Estate Jewelers, of course.
Right, of course. And we are there 6 days a week on Route 18, right next to FedEx office.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. You should do this. Don't be a stranger. Come more
Come
often.
in. Maybe we'll do it
Yeah,
again.
and by the way, I always wanted to do this in person. Today is Tuesday. What does that mean?
It means it's free evaluation day.
He does it just as well in person as he does. Oh, look at this. You know something? Jamie looks like J-Lo a little bit.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
Nice, I like
we're
that.
talking about
That's
J-Lo and A-Rod before. But anyway, seriously, thank you so much. And this has been a blast.
It's my too.
All right, we'll do this again.